The streetlights along Orange Street cast thin pools of light across the quiet two-lane road in Algoa, Texas. Houses sit back from the pavement behind modest lawns and mailboxes. The July air holds the warmth of a Gulf Coast summer even after dark. The small church is a low building that most locals recognize on sight. It sits as much a landmark as a gathering place, doors opening for Sunday mornings and midweek evenings. A vestibule that smells faintly of carpet cleaner and hymnals. An entryway where children wait while their parents finish conversations that linger on the steps. It is July 12, 2002, late in the evening. The time often recalled is after 11 p.m. The last clear description that will circulate in public memory is simple. A young woman riding her bicycle near her church. It's close to home, close to places she knows by heart. She is 23 years old, known by family and friends as Sara. In some documents she is listed with her full name, Sara Ann Lewis Trusty. In this small community, people overlap through work, through school memories, and through worship. The church is part of the rhythm of life. The week that began with ordinary plans is heading toward an ordinary weekend. Sara chooses to take a late ride. The bicycle becomes a fixed point in the story because of what happens next. The following morning, it is found in the foyer of the church, set down as if it were part of a pause that should have ended with her stepping back outside, getting on and riding home. Saturday morning in Algoa is usually marked by the sound of lawnmowers starting early, coffee brewing, and the heat building quickly under the sun. The bicycle's presence inside the church is the first detail that unsettles the weekend. It should have meant a brief stop, does not. Her absence grows from a late return to a missed call, from a missed call to quiet but urgent questions. In those first hours, family and friends trace back the last known details. The church becomes central to every conversation. Time was late in the evening. The place was near that church. The bicycle was found inside the foyer. The rider was missing. Algoa sits in Galveston County, in the flat expanse between inland towns and the coastline. To the southeast lies Texas City, with its refineries, port, and the long man-made dike stretching out into Galveston Bay. Between these points are small neighborhoods, two-lane roads, drainage ditches, prairie, and marsh that all feed into the Gulf. In 2002, law enforcement in this region already carried the weight of years of disappearances and tragic discoveries. Those agencies began to look. Volunteers organized. The news quickly became a name, a face, and a bicycle found where a ride should have ended without incident. A mounted search and recovery group posted notices about Sara, giving her last known location and noting the bicycle in the church foyer. Flyers went up with numbers to call. In those days, before social media dominated communication, word traveled through bulletins, posters, phone calls, and evening news broadcasts. Nearby towns heard about a young woman missing from Algoa. People began to scan ditches, ponds, and roadside shoulders. Quiet questions passed from neighbor to neighbor. In the background loomed a geography with a reputation. The stretch between Houston and Galveston that had seen multiple disappearances and deaths over the decades. Each case was individual, but together they created a sense of unease. When another name was added to the list, people noticed. Sara's disappearance was no exception. The days following brought no sign of her. The bicycle remained the most tangible clue. Investigators widened their focus beyond Algoa. They examined the church as both a familiar space and a potential crime scene. People tried to reconstruct the hour between when she was last seen and when the bicycle ended up in the foyer. Was it routine for her to stop there? Was the foyer door unlocked as it often was in small-town churches? Did someone meet her there? Meanwhile, in Texas City, the long dike was a familiar place to many, for fishing, for solitude, for watching the horizon. It was also a place where evidence sometimes surfaced. Its floodgates and rocky edges were well known to locals, and the currents could carry objects to its shore. 2 weeks later, on Sunday, July 28th, fishermen in the area near the floodgates along Moses Lake made a discovery. Law enforcement arrived, and the remains were identified as Sara's. The search had ended, but the questions had only deepened. The recovery site was more than 20 miles from where she was last seen. This fixed the geography of the case into two stark points: the church in Algoa and the Texas City Dike. Publicly, Few details emerged about what had happened in those missing days. The cause of death was not widely shared, leaving the circumstances unclear. For the community, this absence of detail only made the loss harder to process. The church foyer lingered in memory as the most puzzling part of the story. The idea that she left her bicycle inside suggested familiarity with the building, and perhaps with whoever might have been there. People wondered if she had been interrupted, if she intended to return, or if she had met someone she trusted. The late hour of her ride raised further questions. A small community, cars or people out of place at that time of night are more noticeable if anyone saw something unusual. A parked car, an open door, a person walking a bicycle, it might have seemed unimportant until later. When remains are found near water, the natural elements can complicate an investigation. Currents and tides can move evidence, making it difficult to determine whether a person was brought directly to that location or moved there by the water. The Texas City Dike was a public, well-visited place. Whoever was responsible took a risk in choosing that location. Whether they were familiar with its patterns or simply counting on the water to hide evidence. Over the years, the case stayed in the public's mind, occasionally resurfacing in media coverage, community forums, and anniversary posts. Appeals for information continued, each one aimed at reaching someone who might remember a detail they once thought insignificant. The fact that the case began with such a simple, relatable image, a person riding a bike on a summer night, made it resonate deeply. Anyone who has taken that kind of ride understands the expectation of returning home safely. As time passed, the essential facts remained unchanged. A Friday night in July, a late ride near a church, a bicycle found inside the next morning. 2 weeks later, a discovery along the shoreline in Texas City. Between those points lies a mystery that remains unresolved in the public record. A family still waits for answers, a community still remembers, and the hope remains that someone, somewhere, will come forward with the missing piece. Thank you for watching Fatal Secrets of True Crime. Subscribe for more stories like this. Real crimes, hidden truths, and the secrets they tried to bury. Your support helps keep these stories alive and the pressure on for answers. Until next time, remember, every secret eventually comes to light.